Hi, good evening. Welcome to the 11th Spotlight Series of the St. Genevieve Museum Learning Center. We're going to give you an update on what is happening, but also what's happening in the community in the next month. So I want to welcome our guest tonight. We have Mickey Ketting. We have Ellie Douglas. Both of those are going to represent and tell you a lot about the King's Ball and the history, the event, and what people can look forward to if they join us for that event. To my left, to my right, I have Stephanie Goodell, who is the main face of the St. Genevieve Museum Learning Center if you go visit the museum, but also we have Butch Stevens, who is the leader or the president of the Lions Club right now. We're going to be joining up with the Lions Club to put a casino night on to fundraise for both the Lions Club and the Museum Learning Center. So we'll be talking about that in the second half. We also have Rich Rebecki, who is our PR guru.
Good evening.
Good evening. Thanks, Rich. He always does the background work to get this all together. So as we move forward, so I want to ask Mickey and Ellie, let's just talk about how long has the King's Ball been around in St. Genevieve, and tell us a little bit more about that.
Okay, well, we started doing this a few years ago, that this is the 288th King's Ball. Supposing from the founding of the town that they would have continued, because it was a French custom that they brought from France with them, and that idea of getting together, celebrating. It's not necessarily just Mardi Gras New Orleans style, but it came out of the same tradition, but ours has turned out differently and goes more back to the original concept of it.
It was really 12th night ball. It was
12th
night, 12 days after Christmas, which was the Epiphany.
Okay.
And that was usually how the ball got started. It was more of a religious.
And it was a rolling thing.
Yes.
Early on, they would have one every week, and a king would be chosen. He would choose his queen. The queen had to provide the food with her girlfriends for the next week, and then the balls went on and on
Throughout the year?
from 12th night until Ash Wednesday.
Oh.
So it encompasses that Mardi Gras time, but it was more of a period of time rather than just one weekend or 1 week of activities, and so it's more like German Fasching, which starts at 12th night and goes till Ash Wednesday, and week after week there are balls all over the place that you can go to, and partying going on. And of course I was told, I don't know if that's accurate, that they did things during Fasching so they had something to repent for during Lent. So,
that makes full sense
will,
to me as a Catholic.
Yeah, yes. So, but
person.
that kind of is the same concept of that period between Christmas and Lent starting to be celebrating, and it's the depth of winter, and so get people out of their homes,
Right.
bring them together, let people celebrate and party, and I'm sure that they didn't have big bands or anything, that maybe there was a fiddle player and whatever, though we do know from Jacques Bourd's journals from his store, there were 12 different fiddle players in St. Genevieve
Is that right?
at one point. So we know there were a lot of fiddlers around, and so they got together every week and partied until it was time to get down to the business of Lent.
So it could run for, let's think about it, 12 days after Christmas until Lent, and because Lent and Easter changes every year, we could talk about maybe anywhere from 4 to 6 to 8 weeks of playing
Right.
and partying, and before they started to go into that
Exactly.
more of a repentance or more of a just spiritual growth time,
Yeah.
quiet time,
Quiet
40
time.
days in the desert
Yes.
time.
Yes.
There you go.
Exactly.
Thinking about what we're really here to do, not
Yeah.
about all the fun all the time, but we have to just really pull ourselves out.
Right.
Interesting. That's great. I mean, we kind of forget what the seasons and the celebrations are all about. We get so busy with life. We'll talk about how different it was back then and what it is like today.
Yeah.
But let's move on to just, I mean, the history of that, but also, like, if someone would come into the King's Ball, what can they expect?
Well,
Tell us about the night.
okay. First, they're going to find that most people are in costume.
You want to show your costumes?
We can.
We can.
Okay,
Yeah.
come on, let's just see them all. And tell me about each of your costumes because they're very different. And
Okay.
Right.
Well,
She's the lady. She would have looked wonderful in downtown Paris or downtown New Orleans. I would have been more the lady who worked here on a farm or in a home. This is more peasant wear than
right.
Mickey would. She's the grand lady of it.
I think you've been the queen a few times.
I have been, as a matter of fact. Yes.
Ellie, have you been the queen a few times?
No, we've always been in the background, so I've never had it. I've never taken a piece of cake. So, or I
Well-
don't have anybody here that of my family that would have been the king. So,
Right. See, you have to, the baby Jesus is inside of the cake.
Right.
And then also some beans. And so you have to be lucky enough to get that piece of cake that has the little baby Jesus inserted into it. And so I was lucky enough that Jack was lucky.
she's got a big family. I had nobody here that I know. So
Yeah.
so I'm
So
stuck.
it's really a
Yeah.
random selection. It
It
is.
is.
There's
It's
nothing, no
very-
voting, no
No.
popularity contest, and no anything like that. It's all about your luck. What piece of the cake did you get?
Exactly,
Okay.
exactly.
And speaking of that, we don't know how, I don't know where it is. She doesn't, we have a junior attendant too. I put that one in. I have no idea where.
I go in and I put the baby Jesus and the beans in, and then I put fingerprints after I wash my hands all over the top of the
So
cake.
you're the cake maker.
Because,
Yeah, we're the cake
yeah,
makers.
because one day I was serving the cake and one of them said, well, it's not in there because there's no fingerprints. So I make sure that the top of the cake looks like they've all been touched.
So I have no idea
And
Okay.
then
where it is.
I switch them around, and then she comes in and moves them again. So,
we have no clue where anything is.
and there's no way in the world that I could, chance to say, Jack, it's in the other cake, because I have no idea. So,
What kind of cake is it?
well, we're very simple with the cake. It's generally a spice cake or a
Cake.
chocolate, because you want to be able to hide those things in
Okay.
there.
It hides well.
Yeah, so you can do that. No decorations.
Oh, really?
Oh, no.
And no icing?
No.
Oh,
no.
just a cake,
Just
no icing.
Because the frenzy of it is, people are grabbing that cake
So fast.
and sometimes just crumpling
So
through.
so they don't even eat, some of the guys don't even eat it. They
No.
just check
They
to
just
see
wanna
if the
find the
baby
baby
Jesus
Jesus.
is
Right.
in it.
So how do they come in? Everybody swarms this cake and grabs, or what is
Well,
it?
we have people serving, somebody will
Okay,
stand there.
you'll
and-
cut it
and-
out and
yeah,
you'll go
it's
around and
already
serve
cut.
it?
No,
and-
we have people standing in the middle of the dance floor, and the men come out
Okay,
and
Take a piece.
take a piece and
not the women?
no, except for 2020. It will be a Queen's Ball.
It'll be leap year.
It'll be leap year, and
So
we have a Queen's Ball.
Every fourth year,
Every fourth.
the women come to get the cake?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
So that's
Good
my
to
only
know.
chance.
That's your only
Yeah.
chance?
That's my
Yeah.
only
And
chance.
that year it's always a banner year, because women that maybe wouldn't go because they wouldn't have a chance, show up, and because everybody wants to have that opportunity to be the queen.
So if you're the queen, do you get to select your king?
Yes,
Oh,
absolutely.
that's
Yeah.
good.
Yes. So our last queen was Mary Lee Wisnowski,
Okay.
and so she chose Bill Negger to be her queen and
Her
her
king.
king.
Sure.
And and Bill and Patty had never been king and queen after all the years of them
Oh
being
my gosh, and
involved
they're
in their
every
She,
year.
and she
Yeah.
was queen one year too, when it was Queen's Ball.
Patty was?
Patty
Oh, that's
was.
right,
Mhm.
that's right. So Bill's gotten to be king
Twice,
Twice. Yeah, I've gotten to be queen one more time than Jack, well, 1.5 more times than Jack has been king. But one year he got it, and they said, who do you choose? And he stood and looked around the room and over my head. And so when my 12-year-old son had the last piece of cake on the tray, and he said, Mom, I'm just hungry. And he got baby Jesus. Well, he certainly wasn't going to ask any girl to be it, so I got to be his queen. And then my youngest son, when he was 19, got it, and he was 18, and he had a girl with him, so she got to be the queen. But by the next year, of course, they weren't speaking, and so I got to retire the crown. So
By proxy, huh?
Yeah. But
so Jack didn't pick you as the queen?
He did.
Okay.
He did. But he did take a long time to do it.
He did tease you a little bit.
Yes, he
wow,
did.
That's okay.
Yes. So, but yeah, he made me sweat a bit, and so. But we had been several times, and we haven't been since 1985, and
Really?
yeah, except me with the boys, and so it's about time. But I really can't say that because I do have a lot of time, and everybody thinks we've been king and queen more often. Was if somebody in the Christmas parade, if somebody from out of town was the king and queen and couldn't make it to be in the parade, we stood in
to represent the King's Ball. So how many people come from out of town?
Oh, God, quite a bit.
more than half of them are from out of town.
Some years we've had people from Nebraska and Kentucky, Tennessee.
Really? Yeah.
We've had them from Louisiana.
Texas one year, yeah. We had a bus tour came just for the King's Ball one year. It was a bus group, and they said, we're bringing 48 people, and I said, okay.
And you did this at the Knights of Columbus Hall?
We started at the Knights of the Columbus, and
We
then it got
outgrew it.
So big, so now you're up at the VFW.
We
Hall.
have the largest dance floor in town, and everybody says, can't you get a bigger dance floor? Well, we would be out of town then, and it wouldn't be a St. Genevieve event.
St. Genevieve Community Center is building another building.
Yeah,
We might be able to go there next, right?
That's a possibility.
That's a possibility, yeah. Because we need all of the dance space that we can possibly
And you
get.
really do fill that entire place.
Yes.
And they dance all night.
Yes.
Till 12 o'clock.
So tell me about the kind of dancing that goes on. It's not your traditional rock and roll, I'm sure.
Yeah. We'll sit down.
Sure.
Yeah.
You can sit down, yeah. But I did like your costumes.
Thank you.
I make mine, and I figured that if I could make it now, I could make it then. And so, I tap the lace, and so
That's
I
really
get a
nice.
new dress.
Do you make one every year?
Well,
Just
yeah,
about.
just about. I do go back and get some of my other dresses out and wear them differently, add a different skirt or something to it, and then I say, oh, I don't need to make a new one. And then last year it was 1 o'clock on Friday afternoon when I decided, oh, what the heck, and so I cut it out, and I sew fast. And
Evidently.
Let me tell you a little bit about this is called a coif.
Yes, I'd love to hear about it.
Usually the people out here, the French ladies particularly, you covered their hair. That you were considered a loose woman if your hair would show. But after the Americans came, so they covered up everything. But as the Americans came into the area, they brought ribbons and flowers. People start wearing flowers and feathers in their hair.
Yeah.
But before that, the old French ladies would never do. They covered up their hair.
And you had a hat to wear if you went outside, and someone asked me, a group of children asked me about, why did they cover their hair up, and I said, think about what you'd have to do to wash your hair. Walk to the creek, get your water, go back, heat it up maybe, make the soap. You have to make the soap and make the shampoo, And then, you know, no blow dryers or anything, so, and long hair, so it has to dry a long time, and in the winter, that would be uncomfortable. So they covered it, you know, and it was a modesty thing, and the coifs that they have, one of the books that I have shows 6 or 8 different French
Styles.
coifs, different
So turn
from
around,
different
Ellie.
areas.
You're tying it off in the
Mine's
back?
tied in the back, and I have some that just tie, you know, just have strings and tie under your
Yeah, I've
shirt.
seen those
So,
too.
Yeah.
Do you make yours?
This one was made, I don't sew, but I had someone make
Right.
it for me, yes.
And I have a peasant, more peasant-y outfit also, but I like to dress up, so,
I usually work in this, so I just wear peasant things.
yeah. So,
I think you both look lovely.
well,
You
we
know.
enjoy it, and you will see, the
See, all
vast
kinds of
majority
things.
will be in 18th century French. But you will also see Civil War attire. You'll see people that have taken their prom dresses and made it to look something like, you know, a ball gown. You'll see, we used to have a group that came in kilts. I mean, they were from the top of their heads to their toes, authentic and with the swords and everything. And we had, let's see, we had a couple of years, we had some Saudi costumes that came. Mary Pura came in Saudi costume. And
We had Indians too.
oh,
Really?
lots of Indians. We
I
frequently
think I
have
do
Indians.
have an Indian costume, and I do have a prom dress that had a lot of lace in the front. It was more the Victorian.
Yeah.
I think I could do that.
So, see, yeah. It doesn't have to be authentic 18th century French. You know, you'll see quite a lot. And if people are just kind of wondering, you can kind of make a costume. If you have a full skirt of any kind.
This has just a drawstring. It's just 3 yards of material with a drawstring on
really?
it.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, these all have drawstrings through them.
they
And
didn't have safety pins yet. so-
no, or zippers
Or
or
zippers,
anything
yeah.
like that, you
No
know. And they had to
elastic.
make the
Drawstrings are
cording
good, yeah.
that
yeah.
went through it, if I can get to
Yeah,
some of
sure
this
enough.
cording.
It's like your sweatpants. The
Yep.
cording through the sweatpants and
Yeah.
just drawstring
Well,
through, right?
you have to make the cording
Right.
to go in, so I
You
lose
can't use a ribbon or something?
Well, you
could.
could,
You
but
can use
the-
our cording, yeah.
in the 18th century, you would have had to make the ribbon and weave it. So they used a lucette, and they made all of their cording on the lucette. So I use that for my pockets now. I have pockets on under all of my dresses.
Yes.
And
They didn't have pockets sewn into their clothes. They did, so they had to have separate pockets. I didn't wear mine tonight,
I-
so.
Oh, so you
I don't
made
put-
the pockets on the outside?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
you
And
put
then-
them
and you-
underneath
you
your
put 'em
dress.
underneath,
So
and so
so
they're not
that you had to
shown.
reach
Oh.
through your dress
For
and
your
into your
cell phone?
pockets.
yeah, and
Well, you know,
and my
that's what they
car
would use it for
keys.
now,
Yeah.
but what did you
Right.
put in your pockets back then?
your
Your
whatever,
keys,
well,
your-
or your knitting, whatever you
whatever
were
you had.
working on,
Okay.
because if 2 young girls were walking down the road, they would be knitting or tatting or lusetting or whatever their needle aspirations were, and odd things, whatever you pick up nowadays and stick in your pocket. And Patty Nager's newest thing is she wants me to make modern pockets that people could buy and wear with their blue jeans, and I think it's a fabulous idea, because they're the best thing ever.
Yes,
You can put-
you can put everything in.
So my
yeah.
kids always make fun of me for wearing a fanny pack.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what,
This
that's
is-
Like fanny
exactly
pack.
what they
This is
were.
the original fanny
I
pack.
know, it's just, you just
Yeah.
have enough space, not too much, you can't carry too much, just what you need.
My tablet fits in my pocket, so, you know, I have that, and whatever a sock that I'm knitting on, or whatever I'm doing, you know, needlework wise, is in there also. So, they're wonderful things. And we went up to Washington DC to the hearings on the national park, and I wore this outfit, and we had to go through security, and the first time I had gone up there with that, I thought, oh, I don't want to empty these pockets out. I said, well, what do you know about 18th century women's clothing? And the gentleman said, nothing. I said, fine, then I have nothing to talk about. We'll just go in. And I didn't have anything that was contraband, you know, I just
No
didn't.
knitting needles, that would have
No,
saved me a lot.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
I would have.
yeah, no knitting needles on that trip. I did think about that. So, but there are wonderful things. They
They
are
are
really
really great.
wonderful things, yeah, yeah.
Anything else about your costume? Ellie?
No, it's just very simple.
Is your jacket looks really warm.
It is wool.
It's like a wool?
It is
Uh-huh.
wool. They did have wool, but this is really a little bit later. This is more like 1810, something
Mhm.
like that.
No, 1820.
Yeah,
Yeah.
something, it's not 80s or
No.
90s, but this came from Conner Prairie. I think it was, we kind of lifted a pattern from some of their costuming, because it was warm and it fit over everything. So it was nothing fancy, very simple. Same thing, the chemise was this, it was your nightgown, it was.
Oh, really?
Yes, it was everything.
It was-
So, it was
the
multi-purpose.
basic
Okay.
part of your
It's the thing
daily life.
closest to your body. Men had shirts like that. They're considered underwear.
Uh-huh.
But
you know.
you put your, got up, you put your skirt over the top of it. People
And-
didn't have many clothes. Cloth was expensive,
Sure.
and making clothes was
And
very
washing it was hard, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
It was, a
So-
lot of it was handmade, I'm sure, before
Yes.
the machines came along.
Oh,
Sure.
yes.
A lot of
Oh,
time.
everything
oh,
was
long-
Plus they had
this
to
is
weave the
long
fabric,
before-
right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
you could, but the French weren't really much weavers, the Germans were, but
Yeah.
they could buy cloth, but it was very expensive.
So, and because
So-
of those drawstrings,
Strings, yeah, you could,
what you got when you were 17 or 18 years old
yeah,
went on
forever.
through many pregnancies and pulled the
You got
strings,
one
let 'em out.
drawstring and
you
everything
know?
attached to it, right?
Yeah. Well,
That's
you'd have it
interesting.
for, you know, you'd have it for your pockets, you'd have it for in your
Oh.
skirt, you'd have it for maybe in the neckline of your chemise, and
But people had maybe 2 or 3 sets of clothes, and that was it.
That was it, right?
You know, you see Gone with the Wind, and every time Scarlett came out, she had a different dress on. Well, that's
That
not the
didn't
way
happen.
it was. I
No.
mean,
but this was the frontier.
Yeah, this
Right.
You
was,
know, it was a great hub of commerce by the end of the 18th century. So things did come up the river.
but
and-
it took a long time to come
Yeah.
up the river.
Yeah.
It took
And to get a new dress was a very special event.
a very,
Yes, and
So talk to us a little bit about what happens from start to finish with the King's Ball so people can get excited about coming and joining us? Like
Okay.
what happens to start out the event, and then what happens to the middle part of the event and the big celebration at the end? Kind of share that with us.
okay. Well, the doors open at 7,
Okay.
and Patty Nager and Le Petit Chanteurs will be there, and they'll perform until about 7:45 or so. And if we can tie Bill down, he'll announce people coming in, and
I remember the escorting of
Yes,
people
yes.
in, yeah, that's
Yeah.
fun.
and that's a lot of fun, a lot of, you know, viewing people coming in
You
and
want to see
seeing
the new dresses.
see what
Mhm.
everybody is wearing. And you will go to your table. Now, we decorate the tables with a simple plastic tablecloth for the VFW. They have brand new tables, and they don't want them damaged, and we don't want them damaged, so we put a plastic tablecloth and some candles on the table. But people that have been coming for years know they bring their own cloth tablecloths. They bring their own candelabras or
So
decorated,
lights.
yes.
Yeah, some of them are very elaborate, you know, and you bring your food.
You can
And
bring your dinner.
You can bring
We're bringing dinner.
yeah, and because we
Or
don't have time,
snacks, yeah.
that to eat before then, and so people would bring
So,
their
I'm going to back up. Dinner, but can you plug it in if
No,
you have
no.
it so quick?
No.
Everything has to be warm or
Or
done.
finger
and
food.
Finger foods and you bring it in.
Well,
Okay.
Right,
So just so you
right.
don't have people
Bringing
like upset that they don't
chicken
have a place to
plates,
plug
Oh,
in their
yes, and
slow
there is
cookers.
chicken wings and
Okay, good.
Yeah.
little sandwiches and things
So
Things
like
like that.
more of
that.
the hors d'oeuvres.
Yeah.
More
Yeah.
of the hors d'oeuvres.
Yeah, and every table has their food, and I've always said to people, if you get really hungry, just start introducing yourself to people that look like they have a lot of food on their table.
And usually everybody that has more than they can,
Yeah,
can
yeah.
eat.
And,
Well, you want to, so people come join you. and-
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
Exactly.
right, and so you bring that with you, you have your baskets with your food and everything in it. The VFW has their cash bar there, so we encourage everybody to buy their drinks there.
And they'll have beer, wine.
And they'll have beer and
Mixed
wine
drinks.
and soft drinks and
And they do
such.
have some snacks, like
snacks.
potato chips and
Okay.
pretzels and
Yeah.
things like that.
Yeah, so they do have that. And there will be all ages. All ages will be there, from babes in arms up to old folks like us,
Like-
you know? And so we've.
A lot
we've-
of teenagers. We have
Really?
a lot of
A
teenagers.
lot of teenagers. At one point, we were, more than half was teenagers. And
And dressed up in costume.
dressed up, yes.
And they are coming with their parents, or they're coming,
Some of them do.
Some of them start coming with their parents earlier, and then when they get to that teenage years, they want to be with their own crowd. And so they get their tables, and you can reserve a table if you'd like, if you have a group of 8 or 10 or so,
who
and
would you call?
call me.
Okay, Mickey's in charge.
Yeah, so it's 573-883-5850. Or,
And my telephone number is on the flyer that you see
but
here.
if you call Ellie, then she
Yeah,
has
I
to
have to
call
call
me and tell her.
5850.
5850, yeah. And so we have the reserved signs that we put out for the tables, and so those that have been coming for years and know, you know, give me their reservations, and generally you get stuck unless, you know, if you got a table and you like it and you say, I want the same place I had last year, I keep the chart from the previous year so I know who's sat where, and
But there's always enough space if you don't have a big group, that there's enough places. Like say, if you just come with another couple, and there's always places for
Yeah.
them to sit.
in fact, if a couple comes in, and I try and talk to most people coming in, and they've never been before, and they're by themselves, I have 3 tables, and I just fill them up
Okay.
with people that don't have a large crowd.
So tell me about the music, the dance music.
Well, we have Cousin Curtis and Cash Rebates, and
They've been there forever.
Yes, and they play for the 12th Night Ball at Prairie du Rocher, and they play for our King's Ball here in St. Genevieve, and then there's only 3 balls of this kind in the area, Prairie du Rocher, here, in Cahokia. They don't play in Cahokia, but they do for these 2 events.
It's traditional music.
Traditional music.
Um,
You're not going to be singing the lyrics to any of this.
But it's like from the time of these celebrations, it's
Yeah.
more the French music, the
More
German.
country music.
Yeah,
Country music?
It's more like some bluegrass and.
Okay,
Yeah.
but they're
um,
not really singing lyrics.
No,
It's
because
just like background
there's-
music, and you're able to do the different dances
We
that you
do
do.
round dances, square dancing,
Okay.
contra dancing, and they tell
Line
you,
dances,
line
yeah,
dances.
Do you
reels.
have someone calling off the square
Yes.
dancing?
Yes.
And
Also-
they-
yes, the band
Okay,
brings
and
the-
they're used to doing that.
they're used to doing that, and they come every year, and so they teach you the dance. They say
Beforehand, yeah, they
Get
go
in 2
through it so
circles.
everybody knows how
Okay.
what
men
to
in
do
the
it.
middle, women on the outside, 2 circles, and then you dance forward and backward around the circle. So you get to it's a social
See, it was
dance.
just,
So
it's to
you-
get acquainted with everybody
Right.
that's at the.
A crowd
that's-
mixer kind
Yeah,
of thing,
so
right?
you have 8 beats of music to, hi, how are you, you know,
Mhm.
and pass on to the next one, and line dances are the same way, men on one side, ladies on the other, and you get to the top and you sashay down, whichever you, with the paddle dance in particular. There's a man on the top and two ladies get on either side, and he passes the paddle to one of the ladies and dances with the other one, or passes the paddle to the next gentleman and takes both ladies down the line. And
Sounds like a
that
lot
they
of
do
fun.
twice.
Yes.
They do that twice every year. And squares,
Mhm.
square dancing. And nothing you've ever done before. So,
And the teenagers love it.
oh my goodness, yes.
You know, it's not just,
I know, it's just fun.
It's
It's
just
just
fun,
fun,
yeah.
right.
I stopped one young man because they've been giving extra credit out to the French and German students from St. Gen for years to
Oh,
come,
really?
if they come to the ball. And so I was talking to a young man that I had just danced with, and I said, oh, are you in French or German? And he said, what? I said, are you here with your class? He said, no, I just came to have a good time. I
Oh.
said, it was wonderful. It was just wonderful.
That's
And
neat. Well, I definitely have French and German in my heritage background, so
so,
I really need to get back at that.
You need
That
to
would be
come,
fun.
yes.
That would be fun.
yes, it has really grown and
Mhm.
grown
Sounds
over
like
the
it.
years,
Mhm.
and it's packed.
it is packed.
So the date?
It's February the 2nd, or
The
February the 3rd
The third
this
It's
year.
al- Saturday
It's always
evening.
the first Saturday
Oh.
in February.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's
Because
gonna be
we
at the
didn't-
VFW Hall.
Yes,
and
VFW
it
Hall.
starts-
We
at 7
did
o'clock.
not want to, Prairie du Rocher has their 12th night ball, 12 days
Mhm.
after Christmas. So we didn't want to,
Do that.
Sure,
we
compete
didn't
with
want
that.
to,
And we
Do you
were-
guys go over there for this?
yes,
Yes.
and they like
they
to
come
come
back?
here
Yeah, oh,
to our
yeah.
ball. So we just upped ours
Mm-hmm.
to the first Saturday in February.
Yeah, and Cahokia is on the Saturday night before Ash Wednesday.
Okay.
And
So-
that's always that movable date,
Date.
as you're saying. And so then we would be in conflict with their dance, plus there's something else that was going on in town. And so we moved it to the first Saturday in February. And,
So that way, everybody can go to everybody's ball.
yeah,
That's a plan. That's a
Yeah.
good thing, and you get to know each other, and that's fun, to support each
Yeah.
other's event.
oh, yeah.
Well, good. Well, is there anything else that you haven't been able to say that you want to say before I shift over to the next group?
I think
I think we have,
got it. Just come and have a ball.
come and have a
and
ball.
ball at the King's Ball, right?
Yes, yes.
And in a couple years, it'll be the Queen's
Yeah.
Ball, right?
Yes, couple more years.
Two more.
And at the first, I don't know if I said this, at the first break in the dancing, we pass out the cake, we talked about that, and then we have a coronation, and the local Milice de Saint-Geneviève, they come and they present the court, take them up to,
They have
they have a little ceremony
ceremony,
where
yeah.
and they have
They
swords.
escort the king and
Right.
queen and
Yeah.
all the attendants.
And the retiring Queen and King then crown the new King and Queen,
Ex-
or the
yes.
representative
Yes.
of that. together.
Yes,
And
And-
our king and queen of last year are from Chicago.
Oh, wow.
They're going to be, and they will be here.
yeah. He's
Good.
originally from St. Genevieve,
But
but
he now
he's
lives
in
in
Chicago.
fun is that?
And so,
So then you dance the night away.
Then we
Yes, till
dance the night
And
away.
then you end it at a time that you say it's over,
at midnight,
at midnight,
the
it's
lights
over.
go on, and,
That's when the band stops
Is there an
playing.
entry fee?
yes, it is $10
Okay.
for adults and $5 for students. So
Okay, and that helps to put on the event?
it puts on the event. I save enough money to pay for next year's event,
Okay.
so that I know that next year will happen.
Mm-hmm.
And, because then we have had years with flu, and we've had
Mhm.
sparse crowds and,
Mhm.
and ice storms, though
Yeah.
two
Yeah,
or
we have
three
to-
years ago, we had a
Mhm.
tremendous snowstorm that morning. The band called, said they couldn't make it, and so we were like, what can we do? We can't call it off, because we knew people had come from out of town, they come from all over. We couldn't just call one other radio station. So we decided we would have a game night of it and
Oh.
play music and dance the ones we could remember how to
Mhm.
call, and by 1 o'clock, somebody had come from St. Genevieve, had come down the highway and said, "You can't, the highway is fine." I called the band back and they said, "Oh, yeah, you thank God, goodness we're coming," because they were feeling deprived of getting to come. And they maybe tell everybody this, but they always say they have the best time here.
That's what they say.
That's what they say.
Absolutely.
So-
We like to
St.
believe
Genevieve is
that.
the
Yeah.
place to be.
Yeah.
Isn't that right? Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, thank you, girls, for being here with us and filling us in on the details. We hope to get quite a few St. Genevievites and also the surrounding communities to join us for that night.
Yes.
So, from one night to another, we have another very fun night that we're going to talk about this evening. The following weekend after the King and Queen's Ball, we are doing a casino night with the Lions Club and the St. Genevieve Museum Learning Center board. We're joining efforts together.
Yes, once again.
I'm going to turn it over. Stephanie, you give us the lowdown. You can
Okay.
talk about it.
So back in August, whenever we had the Solar Eclipse Festival, we ended up joining forces with the Lions Club, and it turned out to be a very successful fundraiser for the beer garden and just the extra things that we sold on the side. And with the, you can kind of back me up on this, at the past few meetings, the reoccurring theme has been fundraising with the museum. And we were all thinking, what is another fun fundraiser that we could do? Because we don't have that many people on our board, and the Lions Club has years of experience putting on fundraisers and throwing events, and they have basically an army behind them. So,
They like to have a good time.
yes, exactly, that's the main
Love
part
to
of
have
it.
good time.
Yeah, we've been kind of trying to kick around the idea of what could we do to collaborate with them to make a little money for both of our institutions. And Rich, this was kind of his brainchild. He threw this casino night on the East Coast a few times, so it was kind of kismet, and it all kind of came together, and it happened a little quicker than we were expecting. It came up on us pretty quickly, but we put our thinking caps on, put everything into overdrive, and here we are. We're having it on February 10th at the Oris, and there will be a cash bar. There's going to be 8 blackjack tables, 2 poker, 1 roulette, 1 craps, and then we'll also have a auction at the end where whenever you come into the Oris, since it's a fundraiser, there's no actual gambling. So you will go up to a money bar and trade in real money for play money, and then use the play money to gamble. And then whenever you have your chips and cash in at the end of the night, you can use your play money to buy auction items. So you're not going home empty-handed. And of course, we'll have fun. So,
Sounds like a lot of fun. So there's no admission. You basically
Right.
come in and buy play money.
yes.
So however, how much you want to invest and how long you want to play is everybody's choice.
Yep.
We will have those people serviced by runners who will come and make sure you have plenty of play money if you're sitting at a table and winning lots of cash, because, hey, the more play cash you win, the better the gifts are at the end of the night. In addition to the poker tables, and I'm going to clarify one point, is we're going to have 2 poker tables. One is going to be a 5-card stud, and the other one will be a 7-card stud. If people who like to play poker like one or the other games. No wild cards. I have to announce that. No wild cards. It's going to be straight poker. You're going to have to do it honestly. Okay.
Yeah.
And then we are going to have horse races that will be run from the upstairs of the Oris. And how many will Bob Wolk, who is in charge of that event, run that night? Do you know?
There'll be, this time around, 8.
8
And-
horse races
yeah, and
throughout the evening.
throughout the evening, and we haven't worked out the overall logistics yet, but the sound system appears to be near and above the main stage, and I believe that stage is movable. And if it is, what we'll do is, rather than have people walking up and down stairs, where we first thought we would put the racing upstairs, if we can move that floor out, then most everybody will be on the same level. And because there's a sound system there, if we can get in there before that Saturday night, we'll see how it's wired. We may be able to play Zydeco and Mardi Gras music over the speakers until the next race is being announced. Now, what we don't really know, it's a secret, where the racing took place.
Okay.
So there's no insider information. It's a straight place your bet to win. Whomever will announce the race will also announce who's sponsoring it, when it will run, and then on a video screen, everybody in the place can stop what they're doing and watch what's going on.
So you talked about the sponsoring of a specific race, and I'm going to talk about the community and how they've supported this event. We have sponsors for the tables and or the races. And so some of our business partners have been very generous to help fund the beginning of the event. We decided that we would pull our own people from our own organizations to be the dealers. So if you come, we ask you to be patient. We are learning the games, and we're going to have a lot of fun doing it, but it helps us to then make more for the events, or for our institutions, as you would call it. We just want to be able to help support the growth of both of those organizations. So we have a lot of people volunteering right now to be the dealers and to be supporting the fund. We have a lot of businesses that have come forward, and I won't now necessarily announce them tonight, but they will be honored throughout the evening and marketed throughout the evening for their generous donations, and that's helped us quite a bit to put on this event. Yeah.
Especially considering that we were noodling this idea for a while, and it's coming together at a breakneck speed, which is unheard of. And that can only be reflected by the involvement of the people in the community. I mean, once we decided we were going to pull the trigger on this, so to speak, the first thing we did is we called our new best friends at the Lions Club, and we said, hey, we had such a good August together. you wanna get together in February? And they thought it was a capital idea. It's something, a casino night, from what most of us, well, from what I'm hearing, hasn't been done on this scale in quite a while. And for me, it's a new wrinkle, because back in Massachusetts, we would petition the state for a temporary gaming license, and we would have a night of gaming, which meant somebody could get hot, and that money you counted on as part of a fundraiser, went out the door. So this is kind of a unique experience where the people that come through the door and get greeted. Again, the logistics of the facility, we haven't ironed that out yet, but I'm kind of liking that little ante room that is it's a wind barrier.
Right.
Okay, so you step into the wind barrier. I'd like to see a greeter there. I'd like to see that greeter hand out beads to people, Mardi Gras beads. I'd like that greeter to explain where the bank is, so you can cash your money. Maybe that greeter has a CD player, and there's Mardi Gras music playing in there, giving you the automatic feel of what's going on. Big poster of the sponsors on the door you have to walk through to get in. And that greeter's name is Mary, and she's my wife, and she doesn't know all of this just yet.
She does now.
But she does now. But then once once people are in the in the Oris, and I think we discussed this ahead of time, Butch. I think you want to give a shout out to, you know, how the people at the Oris have been here
Oh.
and,
People, the Oris has been great to us, you know, we run into a stump there, had to overcome it, and, people at the Oris, they gave us a spot, and they're just gonna help us out considerably. I think they're gonna deserve a lot of credit here in the unit, in the community for this.
yeah, it's, you know, most venues that are large enough to hold, an event like this, see the word casino, exchange of
signs.
money, and they see, exactly
Dollar
right,
signs.
they see dollar signs. So what's, you know, I've got a facility, what's my taste gonna be? I mean, how much you gonna kick back? Or better still, you can rent my facility for X amount of dollars. None of that came, what we got from the people that are affiliated with the Oris is, why don't you have your casino night here? And it could be a happening. I mean, how happy would both organizations are, both the museum and the Lions Club have 501c3 designations. Both organizations are nonprofit. You know, both organizations, when they can, give back to the community. I mean, how happy would both organizations be if we could be sitting in the same seat of the people that oversee the King's Ball and know that 1 year from now,
We're gonna
or
do it.
sometime in 2019, we're gonna have a casino night.
Okay.
And as word spreads, the event gets bigger, and we go from individual sponsorships. I mean, a real coup would be someone to say, you know what, we wanna hold the event in your name. And somebody cuts a check for the seed money to pay the rental of the table. We're renting professional gaming tables that are coming down from St. Louis. And we're talking solid wood felt tables. The tables probably know more about how to deal cards and spin the roulette wheel than the people that are volunteering.
Actually, I'm starting to find out who loves to gamble in this town, because they are
Yeah.
very familiar with certain games, and they're like, I'll
Yeah.
be a dealer here, or I
Yeah.
know this game very well. So
Right.
it's really been kind of fun, and I think it's really gonna be a ball. What were you gonna say, Butch?
Well, I wanna emphasize, you know, there's not a professional gambler out there. So, you know, some of these people are gonna come in, they're gonna be expecting, you know, a little bit of, tell them we're just out there having fun, it's all volunteers, and we're just gonna have a lot of fun that night. If we make a mistake, I'm sure with 8 people sitting around the table, somebody's gonna tell us what we did wrong.
Right, that is very
So-
true. So in addition to the gambling, there's going to be a 50-50 drawing. So we will be selling arm's length, 1 or 2, or as much as you can stretch your finger to fingertip. And then it will be a 50-50 drawing. In addition to that, there is a weekend in the Lake of the Ozarks that is donated by Bob and Linda Wolk. They're gonna be giving up their condo for the weekend, and they're gonna raffle that off. So that is another opportunity for those who come in who don't know the gambling games. You can still put your luck on the table and buy yourself a gambling or a raffle ticket. Now, what about food? Are we going to be able to order from maybe Ciro's through the night, or is there going to be food provided?
We've decided to put some bar type, peanuts, popcorn, not trail mix. What was the stuff you had me buy? Snack mix.
Snack mix.
You know, and on the two long,
Mm-hmm.
the two long arms of the bar, the one facing that outer room,
Mm-hmm.
and the long arm facing, you know, where the tables are gonna be. And, you know, we're gonna be, hopefully, we're gonna be packed like sardines. We'll
Right.
have so many people
Right.
in that space, you know, trying to move around and bringing food orders in. It's not gonna be like, there is a little, even the most popular summer series music
Mhm.
event, there's room for someone to walk around with a tray of food. Equally important, there's room for someone who just ordered a tray of food, space to eat that.
You don't
That's-
expect that,
I don't
Rich?
expect that to
So,
happen,
what we want to say is that please eat before you come. Eat your main meal before you come. You will have snacks.
They'll
You'll have
yeah.
something, and you'll have drinks as many
Yeah.
as you want. I mean, within reason.
And
Yeah.
the thing too, that we can't lose sight of the fact, this is the first time
Mhm.
that the two groups are working together on this type of event.
Mhm.
We already know how compatible we are from the Solar Festival weekend
Mhm.
that we worked together on, right
Mhm.
outside the current museum. But we're expecting, we're expecting to stub a toe or two, we're expecting to skin a knee, we're expecting,
Mhm.
not, this can't possibly go over perfectly,
Mhm.
and we're expecting that. And the main message that, as Butch already alluded to, is this is a fundraiser
Mhm.
for two nonprofit organizations.
Mhm.
And it's a little more fun than me coming to your house, knocking on your door and say, hey, how about writing me a check for $25? I'll give you a 501c3 write-off for your taxes. And this is gonna be much more fun.
Much more fun,
Yeah.
exactly. And hopefully $25 is not gonna do it for the night, but then.
That's right, that's right. I've already
Hey,
told.
and by the way, let me just share how the play money is bought, okay? From $0 to $50, it's dollar per dollar. Am I correct? You
Right.
correct me if I'm wrong.
Right.
From 50 to 100, you get $1.50 in play money for your dollar. From $100 and beyond, you get 2 for 1. So you give $100, you're gonna get $200 of play money or $200 worth of chips that you can gamble all night long. The more you win, the more you can buy at the end of the night with the items that are brought in, actually donated for our gifts. Yes.
One thing about the food, there's only gonna be a door between us and Ciro's next door where people go get all they want to eat.
Right, you can take a break and go eat if you'd like.
Yeah, and go to the
Here.
other side, yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know,
Exactly, there's gonna be food right next door, but we're
Yeah.
not gonna probably bring it in, and we're not gonna be serving food inside the Oris during the event. We're
Yeah,
gonna have
right.
snacks,
Our gambling people
and you
might
can
not
step out to get
appreciate
food
that.
and support Ciro's, who are generously giving us that space.
And that, the gambling experience, that's the flavor that we wanna leave with everybody. That's, somebody would say, well, wait a minute, why are you going through all this problem? I come in with $100 and I'm gonna get one yellow piece of Monopoly money, and then I gotta go and to somebody else and get a handful of chips. Well, the thing is, we're not gambling by the letter of the law. So you're gonna gamble with chips, and you're gonna buy those chips, not with your $100 bill. You're gonna buy those chips with the play money. That way there, we're not doing anything illegal, and it is a true fundraiser. I've already told a couple of people, they say, oh, my friends and I, we're big, poker players. This sounds like a good time. I said, well, it sounds like you're a serious poker player. Yeah, we are. I said, well, this is a fundraiser.
Mhm.
You're not, if you walk out of the facility with anything, it's something that you bought with your play money. And
Mhm.
some of the stuff we have most of the stuff we have is surprisingly decent, again, considering how late, we're putting this all together,
Mhm.
So, should be a fun time.
We have Mr. Okafus that is going to be doing our emceeing throughout the night. He's going to be honoring those who have donated or supported the event. He will also be the auctioneer at the end of the evening as we introduce the different gifts, right?
Yeah, and we're hoping through public relations, which what I'm responsible for, that next year, there'll be people who would like to sponsor a table
Mhm.
that might not have been approached this year, because what we did was, when we realized, yes, let's do this, so what's the first step? Well, getting sponsorships.
Mhm.
So we, called on the people that we seem to know the best, you know, this first time around. Now, next year at this time, I mean, wouldn't it be great if we had 20 sponsorships available and we had 35 people or businesses wanting to, I mean, it would be a great position to be, to invent something to sponsor.
Can I say a little bit about the Lions Club? A lot of people don't know exactly what the Lions Club represents. Well, the Lions Club is international. We're in over 100 countries in the worldwide. We're first responders. There's a tsunami, earthquake, anything like that, hurricanes. The Lions Club are right there, usually ahead of the Red Cross. We'll be there with them or ahead of them, you know, with supplying and everything like that. Locally, we support all of these organizations, especially Leader Dogs and Kids Site and stuff like that. We give away scholarships locally here to the schools for the graduating seniors. We also have done backstop. We help the elderly. The main thing I got into it for was the kids. We have site programs where we can go in and test the kids. They need classes, we'll take care of them. And, you know, no problem whatsoever like that. And we have done in the past, we've done hearing aids for the elderly. It's just anything we can get back to the community, whatever this money raises for us, we give back to the community. That's our main goal, is to, number one, help kids and help the blind. The blind is one of our
It's your main
one of the
ministry.
main things. That's our main feature.
ministry. Who would not want to support that, really?
I just cannot believe anybody wouldn't want to.
And who would not want to come and have a very fun night
Yeah,
at
have
the
a fun
casino
night at the casino to support
And you
it.
know what? We all have played some gambling games in the past, and it's like, just dust off the cobwebs and come and have fun. I remember a few times that I've been at casino nights, and dang it, I'm going to be out there dealing because I think I can do it, because we've kind of freshened. We've had some fun practice nights, and I think we'll be doing okay.
America's all about gambling. Just
All right.
think about those people when they first came across that big ocean. They were gambling if they could find a better life over here. So we're born gamblers. We inherited it.
And so the other institution that it supports is our St. Genevieve Learning Center, Museum and Learning Center. And so we have just about 3 minutes to kind of finish up this Spotlight series and welcome the next Spotlight series. We are moving toward bringing in all the different things that we have collected. Guy Darrow is going to be with us for the next Spotlight series, and he's our curator, and he's going to be sharing all of the artifacts and the things that he will be bringing in to our museum. Rich, if you'd like to kind of
Yeah,
share a little bit, we
without-
have a few exciting things that we want to share briefly about, and we'll talk more later.
Right, without giving too much away or to steal any thunder, and before I even do that, it should be noted that that list that Butch just said that they help out, well, about a week after the solar event, we got a phone call, and the Lions voted to give their half of what they made in our partnership to the museum, because they know we're still in a capital campaign and it costs money to move one facility into another. So it should be noted that we were on the receiving end.
Thank you for that,
You
by the
know, the
way.
solar weekend. But as a little tease, it's just a little tease, and this is kind of amazing, since we technically don't have a facility yet, we've already received our first big physical donation from a collector down in Arkansas. And jewelry, weaponry, coinage of past civilizations are currently being inventoried and appraised. And we're hoping that by the first Wednesday in March, our next schedule, we're taking February off because of these two events, but our next scheduled Spotlight show will spotlight our curator and some of the items. Since they'll be inventoried, we'll be able to take them out of their safe storage space, and we'll have them on display. that's just a little tease. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. There's so much other stuff that we have in storage right now, just waiting to open our doors.
So you've
So-
got to come and join us for the next Spotlight series.
That's right.
We are
Yeah.
going to have to close this one down. We are coming to the last 15 seconds. So thank you. Ellie, you're still here, but thanks also to Mickey Ketting, who is here to share her information. Stephanie and Butch and Rich, of course, thanks for all you do in the background to make this happen every month, okay? Good night from the St. Genevieve Museum Learning Center, and we'll see you March.